Wow, okay. There's only 50 minutes left until Artfight starts. I can't wait to get started. There's no way anything could go wrong, right? Right? There's no way that the website will crash again, right? Oh. As you can tell, the season is finally here, and I've set myself some outrageous goals, as always. But last year, I met my goals, so why not? Today I bring you not one, not two, not even 3 speed paints. Today, I bring you 9 speed paints, and a whole lot of art. During these 5 days, I've completed over 20 pieces, and the number just keeps going up as recording this. My goal for this year is to have either completed 130 pieces, or 160 pieces, or more than that. But we will have to see, because for some reason, no joke, 6 months after searching for a job, I got one. Dead in the centre of Artfight. Bruh. Can't you tell I'm too focused? This is Artfight time. I mean, this isn't too bad, because now I can actually fund my own indie animated show, which I want to, yippee. And I've got a lot of very talented voice actors that I want to pay as soon as I have saved up enough to. Now, to watch me struggle with the summer heat, and my tablet deciding that it also wants to boil me alive, as I attempt to complete this year's Artfight. Also note, if one of these characters in this speed paint is yours, and if I've shown one of your attacks to me and you don't want it on here, just let me know, I will happily remove it for you. Now the first piece I am working on is for Weirdo Draws and their characters Urel, I hope I'm saying that right, and Jackson. I'm making sure to include the character numbers as well if you see the character and want to draw it as well, which I would love for you to happily attack the people I am showing on here, especially the artists that dared to attack me first. Go attack them immediately, especially if you don't have anyone to draw. Right now. I dare you. Now about this piece, I immediately saw the stars in the background and I immediately thought of some kind of floaty, kind of dreamy scene. The stars in the background too, and I wanted to add some movement, so I simply just did like a camera up and down, made it loop, and a blink animation. I did that for both of them. I made the shading quite simple as I wanted the main focus to be like this light coming from below them to further the dreamy kind of vibe. I made the scene still kind of dark because I got the kind of vibe that there is something more ominous about their dynamic. I also made sure to add both of their colours into like the background, and this is the finished piece. Next one I did was for Toblerone21 and their character Toby. Quality chocolate, by the way, if that's the reference. I really liked her design because I haven't seen many harpy characters before. The lore also was super cool as well, the whole like being taken by some cult and experimented on. It's edgy. And as you can tell, I'm a connoisseur of the edge. In the design notes there was this fun one that said, "I'll give you my firstborn child if you draw her in mental anguish." So that was exactly what I did. I ended up with some kind of like hunched pose with like one hand over the eye kind of thing, as the other one was like frantically looking around. I added a bit more movement other than just the eye, as I wanted it to look like kind of like a hyperventilating kind of heaving pose. Also now I'm noticing, don't mind the dog noises in the background. I drew the wings kind of like, almost like a protective like blanket, in like a way to kind of protect herself. I made the background quite like dark and cloudy, even adding a small red haze over the top as well to add like just the extra anguish vibe. I did cheat a little bit with this one with the movement, as all I did was kind of stretch the line art and then get the colours to just fit instead of doing like a brand new layer and a brand new frame. But hey, there's an animation tip for you. Shading wise, I wanted it to be like quite downcast, covering the eyes. Basically the edgiest shading I could think of for this piece. Overall quite happy with this piece, even if it was a small amount of animation for it. Also quick note, these aren't in order of when I've done them, just simply because I've wanted to put all the defenses I get after each day, and then show off what I did back for the said person who attacked me. Talking about the attacks I got, this was the first one I got this year, and I am so happy. I love it completely. This was done by Karma303. And here's the piece that I did back for them. The second attack I got this year was this, by Seriously. Hopefully that's how you say it. And I am obsessed with it. It is so funny. I love it. It is beautiful. Next, I got these cute little chibis of Cat and Carter by Anik. I'm so sorry, I'm probably butchering these names. Day 2! I was way more focused on completing things from my hit list during this day, and then got completely sidetracked later on as I was watching videos, artfight videos during drawing, and I just had to attack 2 of these creators that, oh my god, their art is just amazing. In this piece, I was drawing Lyra by Pinkerberry. I wanted to go for some kind of like chill pose where like they're stretching, as she's been described to be carefree. No joke, these hands were a pain to draw, but eventually they looked decent enough. Not gonna lie, her outfit was super fun to draw, as I'm a fan of like any kind of flowy part of any outfit you could add. Kept the shading and the lighting simple in this one. I wanted the main focus to be like kind of the laid back kind of evening-ish vibe, while keeping it a little bit of a hint that the character in the creator's words is a bit psychopathic and manipulative. I added back lighting to kind of show that the light was coming from behind her, and added a small blur. Totally not to, you know, hide the hands a little bit. I also made the eyes glow just to further the little bit manipulative vibe. And here's the end piece. Next piece was a complete random attack for Cable Gore and their friend Jules. Just simply because I loved the lore behind the 2 characters and the general vibe. And totally not because I happen to be a big fan of Warforged characters too. For this, I tried to animate a little bit more and try to do this kind of scene where the front character is looking back to a statue of their past god, and the statue looking back kind of almost looking down on them. I struggled a lot with getting the eyes correct in this, as I just wasn't happy with the way that they were looking each time I was doing it. I think I ended up redoing the eyes maybe 3 times, before deciding that it kind of just looked better with like just a complete background and then a blue like highlighted pupil instead. I also decided not to do the full motif, as animating that in the next scene would be quite hard. So instead I kind of just did like a small sketch and then used the airbrush tool to fade parts of it. I wanted the lighting to be really dark in this and kind of ominous to just add to the vibe that was coming off the characters, but then still adding like highlights where the mechanical parts would be, because that seems kind of cool. I did make use of the camera tool to do most of the motion in this, but I think it looked pretty good, so I just kept it as that. Nothing wrong with a pan shot replacing most of the animation work. Now I've told you about that, you're going to see it all the time. Especially in certain animes. I was originally just going to zoom in for the close-up shot, but the line art looked way too blurry, so I ended up having to just redraw it, but I'm happy I did. It looks a lot better. For the second shot of this animation, I decided to do a simple just turn around to look behind them with kind of a complex look in their eyes. I tried to add as much emotion as I could for a like metallic helmet face, but I think I was pretty successful with conveying that. I also ended up adding like a shadow of the statue kind of cast over them when they look back, just to add like a little bit more suspense. Last thing I did was quickly change some of the pacing, as I thought it was going way too fast for the kind of scene that I wanted it to be. And then my tablet decided that it wanted to start burning so I had to stop recording. Here's the final piece. Next piece I also found while watching YouTube on artfight videos. This attack was for Aquarine Arts, for their character Lynn. And while watching it, I heard that they loved cats, but cats hated them, and I immediately got an idea from it, so I just had to animate it. I tried to make the cat's face as grumpy as I possibly could, because it's funny. Not gonna lie, I had a lot of trouble animating the hair and the face with this one, just because I decided to draw on the wrong layer for some reason, and I had to go back and find individually which one was wrong. I think I ended up just copying and pasting the previous frame and then adjusting it slightly because I just couldn't figure out where it was. Not only did I mess up with the hair, but I also forgot to draw the nose, so I had to go back and do that too. This whole animation was very messy. I was definitely very sidetracked while doing it. I obviously had to make the cat ginger because they are the most chaotic ones you could possibly get, but also because it provided a nice contrast with the purple and white theme.
What the dog doing?
Also, for some reason, I decided to flip my canvas around. Don't know why I did this, but it did look slightly strange. My tablet also proceeded to try die on me, so I thought it was a good time to stop recording. Here's the final piece. Day 2, I was attacked by WBT bunnies, still messing up names, with this lovely full body piece. Thank you so much. And this was the piece I did back for them, with some cool colour changing hair and a simple zoom. Day 3, and my first piece was for Vanille. I'm probably butchering all of these names. I'm horrendously sorry. And their character Koi. Now I've got to say, I adore this character's design, but I just had to draw them. I tried to go for some kind of leaning down pose, where they're looking down at someone, or maybe something like a pond. I tried to go for a pond because, you know, Koi. I made the hair really flowy and kind of down, so that it did look like they were leaning over something. I'm noticing that I definitely got the pose from the original art. I was originally going to make the ears slightly darker to make them stand out, but I felt like that probably wasn't the original concept, so I put it back to the original colours. I kept the lighting simple, as I wanted the clouds and the sky in the background to be the main light source. I added multiple gradients to add kind of like a water surface to the background, before moving on to the lighting once again as a backlighting to just kind of show that the lighting is above where the sun would be. And here's the final piece again. Just now I realised that that's all I recorded for today, so we'll move on to the attacks I got. I got this wonderful traditional piece by Ricard. I absolutely love the pose and the fact that she's hiding a knife behind her back. Very accurate. And this is the piece that I gave back to them. Day 4, and I'm right back to my hit list for an attack to Hato Calf and Rose. Now I struggled with this one a lot. I could not get the pose and the animation of the bat swing right at all, so it ended up looking a little bit stiff, but overall it wasn't too bad. As the animation did look a little stiff, I did do a quick secondary animation to go after it. I ended up adding one singular impact frame just to add a little bit more to the animation, as it did look a little bit basic. Shading this one took ages as it had a lot of frames, and I wanted to make it a bit more of a dynamic kind of look instead of just kind of flat. I also struggled a little bit with getting the actual directional shadows right with the bat, so that was a little bit of a mess as well. And for the shading and lighting for this, I tried to go for some kind of like sunset scene once again. And in the other animation, I tried to do some kind of like cityscape background too. I also added a quick zoom in as the bat hits, just to kind of like add more impact to it. And here's the final piece once again. Moving on to attacks that I got today, I got this great headshot by Azure Lion, and I'm in love with the shading and background of this. It looks great. Thank you. This is the piece that I gave back. Now, since this video is already getting very long, I kept it at day 5 instead of doing the entire week. But oh my god, this day, I swear, I had no time to do attacks. I was attacked a lot. And that totally isn't, you know, the norm now. Multiple days after the 5-day part. I have managed to do a few attacks, but with the number of attacks I'm getting myself, I am focusing on defenses from now on. Of course, if I get any spare time, I will obviously attack people from my hit list. This piece is for Iona and their character Elias, or Elias. I think you can get by now that I am horrendous with names. But this was the piece that they drew for me, which I absolutely adore. They did all 3 of the main characters. I love it so much. And they even changed the outfits, which, oh my god, I adore when people do that. So in the story of this character, they are some kind of janitor who's doing their best to completely ignore anything eldritch, supernatural, whatever. So I thought the perfect thing to draw was them taking a break with something scary lurking behind the shadows. Not gonna lie, this does not look creepy in any way. I did fail to capture the eldritch theme, but I'm overall quite happy with the way it looks. Shading wise, I kept it kind of dark to go for like kind of a overtime, after dark kind of shift idea, but try to not make it too like dark in any way. Background wise, I kept it simple. I hate backgrounds so much, but since they did a really nice background in their piece, I tried to make something simple. I did also have to go back after I realised I did not add the freckles, but I made sure to add that before I submitted the attack. And here's the finished piece. And onto the last recorded speed paint of this video. Not gonna lie, this has taken ages to edit, but it's worth it. This is the piece that I got from them, which looks really cool. Thank you so much. I love the posing in this completely. For this, I wanted to do some close-up scene where you kind of see like the reflection of some kind of shooting star in the background. But I wanted to make sure that the reflection was only in the eyes, and that the animation was mostly just like the simple hair wave. Not gonna lie, I messed up the eyes, so I had to just do the typical copy and paste, flip, and redraw it. But, you know, we all gotta do it sometimes. With the eyes, I tried to have like some kind of highlight shoot through to kind of symbolize that they're looking at this like shooting star. Not gonna lie, I think it was very subtle, and I wanted to make it a bit more like prominent, but yeah. I also found out that drawing the hair on a separate layer above the body did cause a couple issues, so I ended up having to draw the lower half of the hair once again and animating that completely differently on a different layer below. Sadly, I couldn't add the gradient to these petals, as animating that would be very hard and time consuming. I had to just keep it as a simple colour. Animating in layers makes it a lot easier, by the way, instead of drawing the entire thing again and again for each frame. Another random animation tip for you. Lighting wise, I kept it dark once again because I wanted it to be kind of like the night scene, looking up to the stars. And then I just added some simple, like, very cartoonish stars with a tiny animation of one frame. Lastly, I added the highlight of the shooting star, but I ended up making it way too transparent and you can barely see it in the finished animation. Last attack I got on day 5 was this, and I'm amazed. This is amazing. Thank you. The shading in the background, wow. And this is what I gave back. And that's officially the end of this week's art fight video. And I just wanted to thank all the amazing artists that have tagged me once again. I am just awestruck with the art I'm getting. This is just, it's hard to put into words. I'm just so thankful. Thank you so much. And in 5 days, I did a grand total of 20 plus attacks and defenses. This is the most I've ever done. I am shocked at myself. Should really give myself a break, but there's still art to be had.